Everyone loves classic sports cars. Everyone admires legendary racing cars. But often, desires don't align with possibilities, as the icons of the automotive world cost millions of dollars, and obtaining such rarities is simply unrealistic. What if I tell you it's possible? What if I show you how incredibly fascinating it is? Moreover, you'll discover that you can actively participate in creating the car of your dreams. You'll delve into the global culture of kit car construction, exploring the most popular and best models in this genre. In this universe, almost any automotive celebrity can be assembled in your garage. Together, we'll explore fantastic, highly rare, and iconic cars. However, sooner or later, every high-quality, interesting, or unique car becomes iconic. In this video, we'll talk about the legendary V8, including an engine considered one of the best for tuning. The 5-liter V8 Coyote from the legendary Mustang model will be frequently mentioned. So what is a kit car? The term kit car refers to a car that needs to be assembled from a set of parts. By purchasing this kit, you could build your own car. It's like a construction set for big boys, an incredible challenge for any hands-on guy. The kit car culture originated in Britain in the distant 50s due to tax considerations. Some Brits bought cars in unassembled states, making it twice as cheap. Acquiring a car for half the price. Who would refuse such an offer? One of the ideological inspirations for kit car construction was Colin Chapman, the legendary founder of the Lotus company. He wrote a book titled How to Build Your Own Sports Car for Only £250. The book immediately became a bestseller because in those times and even now, it was simply impossible to buy a sports car for such a small amount. The most interesting part is that such a car indeed existed. Colin Chapman's company started producing the Lotus 7. It was very light, fast, with excellent and exhilarating handling. In assembled condition, it cost £500, and as an unassembled kit, only £250. Due to its simple construction, any schoolboy could assemble it in their garage. Nothing complicated. The kit already included a ready welded frame, a 4-cylinder engine, manual transmission, front independent suspension, and rear dependent axle. Because of its simplicity, the 7 was very reliable. There was simply nothing to break. It could withstand the most rigorous tests on both the road and racing track. If you think it's some unserious car, oh, you're seriously mistaken. With the most popular engine of that time, a 75 horsepower unit weighing only 500 kilograms, this little one could accelerate to 100 in just 9 seconds. And that's in 1958. In those days, only expensive cars like the Aston Martin DB2, BMW 507, Jaguar Mark II, or the Alfa Romeo 2000 could hope for such acceleration figures. All these cars cost at least 8 times more and were much slower on the track. Of course, they were luxurious and comfortable, beautiful and impressive. But when it came to pure speed, cornering, braking, efficiency, and overall driving pleasure, the Lotus 7 could outperform any of them by 100 points. Power to weight ratio is crucial for any sports car. Colin Chapman himself said, "Big power makes you fast in straights. Small weight makes you fast everywhere." First Britain, and then the whole world started buying kits to assemble this sports car. The Lotus 7 quickly became a star in club racing. In the 60s, there was even a period where the Lotus 7 was deemed too fast for races and was subsequently banned from participating in some racing championships. It was hard to find a more affordable sports car with such outstanding track characteristics worldwide. In 1973, the rights to produce the Lotus 7 were transferred to the Caterham company, and the new story of the super little one, with the name Caterham 7, started to unfold even more rapidly. The car was constantly upgraded. Probably, there wasn't a year without some improvements to the design. To this day, there are already several models. The basic Lotus 7 kit, if ordered from the Caterham website, starts at $31,000. This includes an 80 horsepower engine, the entry-level version. This car doesn't differ much from the very first Lotus models of the 50s. But if you want something hotter, be prepared. Those who decide to treat themselves to a real manly gift should have more banknotes. After placing an order, the owner receives several huge boxes at home, containing all the parts needed for assembling the car, including the engine. Here are the versions with the famous 7 available. 7360 with 180 horsepower, 7420 with 210 horsepower under the hood, the 420R version with an aggressive racing package, and the craziest, utterly wild thing, The 7620R with 310 horsepower, weighing 610 kilograms, 2.8 seconds to 100. Acceleration on the level of the Porsche 911 Turbo S, a projectile instead of a car. No wonder Lotus 7 owners use their cars not only as soulful vehicles or weekend machines, but also compete in various racing championships worldwide. All these versions are equipped with modern 2-liter Ford Duratec engines, the same ones found in models like the Ford Mondeo or the Mazda 6. Very reliable and eco-friendly engines, utterly trouble-free, even if they're live on the racetrack. This is still a straightforward car that you can assemble in your garage, but it's far from the Lotus 7 of the 50s. Turbocharged engine and a Midas modification, dry sump lubrication system, 6-speed sequential gearbox, differential lock, independent suspension on all wheels, racing disc brakes, carbon body parts, and how it all performs can be witnessed in one of the episodes of Top Gear. On the famous show's track, not even in the most powerful version of the 7, Stig recorded a time of 1 minute and 17.9 seconds. The Cater M7 turned out to be faster than the Pagani Zonda F, Ferrari Enzo, and even the Bugatti Veyron. It's hard to imagine that for the price of a Mercedes E-Class, someone can acquire a car with the specifications comparable to the top hypercars. Anyone still doubting that this is a fantastically fast machine? Now the story of our next hero is a bit different. We all know that legendary cars with a sporting history are highly valued. For example, in various car countries, no one will even pay attention to you if you're behind the wheel of a new Ferrari. Yeah, you're a stud who earned it, but there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of cars like yours. It says you have, at the very least, good taste. So it's hard to imagine a more attractive and bold classic car than the Shelby Cobra. Behind the wheel of this car, you definitely won't look like an ordinary guy. It's the kind of legend people are willing to spend crazy money on. Ready to pay, but afraid to ride the legend. After all, you might damage it. An original Shelby Cobra from the 60s costs over $1 million. They're almost never used as daily drivers, not to mention racing. Such an expensive car is usually placed in a museum or climate-controlled garage, taken out occasionally for a stroll or prestigious exhibitions. But the desire to own such a spectacular car is immense. And of course, a solution has been found. Some companies offer replicas, kit cars of the legendary Cobra. Now anyone with a certain substantial sum can get an exact copy of this sports car, and the owners of the original model will only cheer. But the most amazing thing is that this is that rare case when the copy turns out to be better than the original. Well, let's figure out what and how. Let's start with the history. Once upon a time, there was a racer named Carroll Shelby. Due to health reasons, he retired from racing quite early, but didn't abandon motorsports. Carroll Shelby decided to create race cars himself, and he needed a base for his new racing car. He knew that in the USA there were top-notch, super powerful V8 engines, while in Europe, they were creating small but technologically advanced, very light cars with excellent chassis. And in his mind, a quite logical question arose. What if we combine American V8 with European chassis? So, he approached the British company AC Cars, which produced a sports roadster with excellent handling. The only thing that spoiled this car was the low-powered engine. Carroll Shelby suggested to the British company to build a racing car with a big American V8. And here's what came out of it. With the support of Ford, under the hood of the car with the new name Shelby Cobra, not without changes to the design, a V8 engine was first squeezed in at 4.2 liters, then at 4.7 liters. As you understand, with a weight of less than a ton and a power of 300 horsepower, this projectile easily started winning races. It outpaced powerful Chevrolet Corvettes on racetracks, which had previously dominated and were almost unbeatable. Then Carroll Shelby thought this wasn't enough and installed a 7-liter powerhouse under the hood of this lightweight machine. In racing trim, this engine developed 486 horsepower, and that's on just over a ton of weight. Utter madness, don't you think? These cars were built both for racing and everyday roads, but Carroll Shelby saved the most interesting part for later. For himself and his good friend comedian Bill Cosby, Shelby created two Cobras with Paxton superchargers. Such engines developed, just imagine, 800 horsepower. These beasts reached 100 miles in just 3.2 seconds. After comedian Bill Cosby took a ride on this monster, he sold it as far away as possible, explaining that it's a completely insane car and that he's afraid of it. As for the one he sold it to, he soon crashed, unable to handle the supercar's insane nature. That's the story. The Shelby Cobra won a lot of races. It's a true American icon of motorsports. It's not surprising that many people wanted to buy such a car, and some companies legally, with the owner's permission, gave people the opportunity to fulfill their dreams. One of these companies is Factory 5 Ring. Here, they produce kit cars, exact replicas of the Shelby Cobra, and to get one, you just need the money. If you've decided on such a crazy and interesting challenge as building a motorsports icon in your garage, then for $20,000, you can get the basic kit car package, which includes a pre-welded space frame, steering control, front independent suspension, instrument panel, and a fiberglass body. As an option, instead of a dependent axle, you can choose an independent suspension, and this will be historically accurate. Also, as an option, you can order premium Willwood brakes instead of basic ones, sports buckets instead of classic ones, as well as power steering, cabin heater, stylish wheel discs, and many other goodies that turn the Cobra into a stylish and attractive machine. However, the kit doesn't include an engine or transmission. The top-tier engine and manual transmission will cost an additional $25,000. In the end, in the USA, the Shelby Cobra in the right configuration, if assembled by oneself, will cost around $65,000. Quite a sum of money, but still much less than the original Cobra for $1 million. In the end, the owner gets a classical car created with the help of high-precision modern equipment. Unlike the 60s original, modern replicas of the Shelby Cobra, thanks to computer-designed frames, have better body rigidity against torsion, improved suspension kinematics and energy absorption, and consequently, better handling. Modern Cobras have civilized amenities such as power steering, cabin heating, durable brakes, fuel-efficient and eco-friendly engines, and they're often assembled much more qualitatively than classic original supercars. So it's not surprising that kit cars and replica building are rapidly evolving worldwide. Prices for old legends only rise every year, and the number of those willing to acquire them decreases. And now, our third hero. Just like the previous ones, this car is one of the most popular kit cars in the world. It has many merits: a racing legend, a movie star, and just a very beautiful car. The Ford GT40, an American legend of the 60s. This supercar became famous primarily through one of the loudest confrontations in motorsport history. In the 60s, only the blind and deaf didn't know about the battle between two companies, Ford and Ferrari. This story is beautifully presented in the movie Ford v Ferrari. The epic of the Ford GT40, strangely enough, should start with Enzo Ferrari. In 1963, Ferrari was experiencing financial difficulties and wanted to sell parts of its assets to Ford. Ford spent a lot of time and millions of dollars on legal checks, audits, and preparing documents for the deal. But at the last moment, Enzo Ferrari changed his mind. The thing is, in the event of a successful deal, Ferrari cars would be prohibited from participating in the Indy 500 races, and Enzo Ferrari didn't like that. The deal was terminated literally at the last stage. Enzo insulted the negotiators, and according to rumors, offended the head of the American conglomerate, Henry Ford II. Henry Ford was furious. He didn't care how much it would cost. He vowed that his company would create a racing car that would beat Ferrari in the prestigious 24-hour Du Mans race. Ford would do everything to humiliate Ferrari. All efforts were thrown into building a racing car in a short time. And who do you think was invited to lead the construction and design of the Ford car? Our old friend, Carroll Shelby. The very best of the best were brought in to develop the car. The best designers, the best racers. The first GT40 prototypes appeared within a year. It was a mid-engine racing car in a space frame with a V8 under the hood. The first engine developed 350 horsepower, but later specifications only grew. The entire conglomerate worked towards refining the car. But that wasn't enough. In the very first race of the 24-hour Du Mans, all GT40s retired due to breakdowns, and all 3 top spots were taken by Ferraris. Well, the first pancake is lumpy, thought the American company. However, the next Du Mans also ended in failure. The cars retired, and once again, the victory was celebrated by Ferrari competitors. A very unhealthy trend was emerging. The GT40 lacked speed and reliability. Something had to be done urgently, or the infuriated boss would disband the entire team. And he would be absolutely right. Once again, efforts were made to rectify the mistakes. Aerodynamics, suspension, and transmission were reworked. Virtually all weak points were addressed and reinforced, along with replacing the engine. Hidden within the supercar was the legendary V8, the 7-liter engine, a 427 cubic inches powerhouse of American might. It churned out 460 horsepower, more powerful than any of its competitors. And yes, it made all the difference. In the next Le Mans, free from all of the GT40's drawbacks, they literally crushed all the Ferraris, claiming every spot on the podium. It was an absolute success, but at Ford, they had no intention of stopping there. For the next 3 years, the Ford GT40 was invincible. Whether in the 24-hour Du Mans or other endurance races, the legendary Ford had no equals, and Henry Ford II entered history as a man who achieved his goals at all costs. Only 107 units of these cars were produced in various modifications for both racing and general road use. Each one is worth millions of dollars. For example, this original 1967 GT40, winner of the SPA race, was recently sold at an auction for $11 million. It's not surprising that there's currently a huge demand to own such a legend. As you can understand, original cars are well preserved, and it's very rare to see them on roads. But realizing the dream is still possible. Various companies worldwide offer precise and meticulously crafted replicas of this motorsport icon. For instance, the American company Race Car Replicas manufactures replicas and sells GT40 kit cars for self-assembly. Their kit cars, once assembled, are fully ready for use, including as everyday cars in any weather. But it's worth remembering, the Ford GT40 is one of the most challenging kit cars for self-assembly. So let's dive into more details. It starts with the delivery of a massive box to your doorstep. It contains almost everything for assembly. The frame, plastic body, suspension. All this beauty costs between $29,000 and $49,000. The price depends on the configuration. The maximum price can be reached if you opt for the full package. Power steering, air conditioner, powerful 6-piston brakes, roll cage, polycarbonate side windows. Just like the racing version, there are plenty of bells and whistles. The assembly process will thrill anyone. Some companies manufacture an exact copy of the original GT40 suspension, while others adapt the lever kinematics to modern control standards. The monocoque chassis can be made of steel or lightweight aluminum. What remains constant is the durable fiberglass body. The interior can be adorned with leather or made Spartan with lightweight carbon seats. Again, the only thing not included in this kit is the transmission and the engine. They need to be ordered separately from Ford or other third-party companies. In America and Europe, this is relatively easy to do. There can be several types of transmissions, just like there could be various engines, provided they're from Ford. It could be the 306 engine or the monstrous 427 with 7 liters. But many opt for the same 5-liter Coyote, which can propel the 1,070 kilogram supercar to 60 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds. This engine is also popular because it's from the Mustang, modern, incredibly reliable, and has a vast array of tuning solutions. For just $10,000, owners, for some reason, dissatisfied with 450 horsepower, can get a compressor, allowing them to boost the power to 700 horsepower, and with a piston replacement and cooling system, up to 1,000 horsepower. Weighing just over a ton, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, and around 1,000 horsepower. Needless to say, comments are superfluous. In addition to the Ford GT40, Shelby Cobra, and Lotus 7, there are many other impressive kit cars around the world. With the right skills, and of course, finances, you can assemble a Shelby Daytona Coupe, Chevrolet Corvette C2, Porsche 356, Lancia Stratos, and much more. Looking at all this, it's hard to believe that such cool bodies were made more than just half a century ago. While legendary cars are hidden in museums and gathered dust in garages, The replica market is thriving. Many can get close to these designs and technological masterpieces. The kit car culture allows preserving legends, and admit it, the sights of such magnificent cars on the roads make the world much, much more beautiful. Until next time, friends.